Comprehensive analysis of H.R.1, Lower Energy Costs Act, 119th Congress amended July 1st. The Lower Energy Costs Act, H.R.1, represents a sweeping reform of U.S. energy policy, federal regulatory procedures, and environmental permitting laws, amended by the Senate on July 1st, 2025. The bill integrates several key objectives: reducing domestic energy costs, increasing fossil fuel production, streamlining infrastructure permitting, and limiting federal agency overreach. This essay outlines all major changes and amendments introduced in the bill, with clear explanations and examples to show how each provision could affect real people, industries, and communities. What changed imposes strict deadlines on environmental reviews under the National Environmental Policy Act and NEPA, 1 year for environmental assessments and 2 years for environmental impact statements. These deadlines limit how long agencies can delay project approvals by requiring faster decisions. A company wanting to build a new natural gas pipeline currently waits 4 to 6 years for approval. Under this bill, they could get a decision in under 2 years, significantly cutting costs and delays. What changed? One federal agency is designated as the lead coordinator for permitting projects, avoiding overlap between multiple agencies. Explanation: this centralization eliminates confusion and interagency conflict. Wolf Farm project involves the EPA, Department of Energy, and Army Corps of Engineers. Only one would be the official lead, streamlining communication and permitting, and so on. Let me know if you'd like me to continue reading the rest of the essay.
Go ahead.
All right, continuing on. Title 2, Mineral Production and Supply Chains. Change 3, Critical Minerals Listing Expansion. What changed? Expands and prioritizes the list of critical minerals essential for national security and clean energy production. Explanation: prioritizing mining permits for lithium, nickel, cobalt, and rare earths will encourage domestic sourcing. Nevada company mining lithium for electric car batteries would be fast-tracked for approval instead of importing it from China. Change 4, ban on foreign adversary manning contracts. What changed? Federal funds cannot support energy infrastructure projects involving companies from foreign adversaries, e.g. China, Russia, Iran, North Korea. This prevents U.S. dependency on hostile foreign nations for critical resources. A solar project relying on Chinese manufactured panels would be ineligible for federal grants unless it used alternative suppliers. Title 3, Oil and Gas Production Expansion. What changed? Mandated quarterly lease sales. The Department of the Interior must hold oil and gas lease sales every quarter in each state with eligible land. Explanation: reverses prior delays or cancellations of lease sales on federal lands. In Wyoming, companies could expect consistent opportunities to lease public land for drilling instead of waiting years for uncertain sales. Repeal of fossil fuel moratoriums. What changed? The bill cancels executive moratoriums on oil and gas development, especially in the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge and offshore Gulf waters. Explanation: the bill nullifies Biden-era restrictions on drilling. Example: companies like ExxonMobil would be allowed to reopen previously suspended offshore projects in the Gulf of Mexico. And we can keep going from there. Just let me know if you'd like to hear the rest.
Keep it moving.
All right, let's keep going. Title 4, Pipeline and Infrastructure. Change 7, Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, FERC empowerment. What changed? The FERC is given expanded authority to approve cross-state energy projects, including pipelines and transmission lines. Explanation: this preempts state-level rejections of projects deemed in the national interest. A natural gas pipeline from Pennsylvania to New York could be federally approved even if New York opposes it, speeding up energy delivery. Title 5, Repeal or Defund Green Initiatives. Rescinding Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund. What changed? The $27 billion Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund created by the Inflation Reduction Act is repealed. Explanation: the repeal halts federal investments in community-level clean energy projects. A local solar co-op that hoped to receive funding from rooftop installations would now be ineligible, potentially halting its expansion. Change 9, Elimination of methane emissions fees. What changed? The bill removes the penalty system for methane emissions set by the Inflation Reduction Act. Oil and gas companies will no longer pay fines for releasing methane, a potent greenhouse gas. Example: a Texas fracking operation that emits methane during extraction won't face additional EPO penalties, reducing their operating costs, but also increasing pollution. Title 6, Energy Export and International Policy. LNG Export Fast Track. What changed? The Department of Energy must approve all liquefied natural gas LNG export applications to non-free trade agreement FTA countries unless found to harm national interest. Explanation: this removes the broad discretion the DOE once had to delay or deny LNG exports. Example: a Louisiana LNG facility can now sell gas to India or Vietnam, with guaranteed approval unless serious national security concerns arise. Title VII, restrictions on social cost of carbon. What changed? Federal agencies may no longer use the social cost of carbon to evaluate regulations. Explanation, this metric used to estimate economic damage from carbon emissions is removed from cost-benefit analyses. A rule restricting emissions from steel plants cannot cite economic climate damages as justification, possibly weakening environmental protections. Conclusion, the amended Lower Energy Costs Act, H.R.1, marks a significant legislative shift toward prioritizing fossil fuel development, infrastructure acceleration, and deregulation of federal environmental oversight. Supporters argue it will reduce energy prices, boost U.S. energy independence, and bring down inflationary pressure. Critics warn it may intensify climate change, sideline community voices,